Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into a comprehensive analysis of Amgen Inc., ticker AMGN, one of the heavyweights in the biotech and pharmaceutical space. If you're looking to understand whether this stock deserves a spot in your portfolio, stick around because we're covering everything from financials to recent performance, valuation, and more. Let's get started. So why are we talking about Amgen today? Well, this is a company that's been a staple in the healthcare sector for decades, and with recent earnings reports and some exciting developments in their pipeline, there's a lot to unpack. Whether you're a long-term investor or just curious about the biotech space, Amgen's story is one worth paying attention to. We'll break down their business, look at the numbers, and figure out if now's the right time to buy, hold, or maybe even sell. Let's jump into the details. First, let's talk about who Amgen is for those who might not be as familiar. Based in Thousand Oaks, California, Amgen has been around since 1980 and is a global leader in biotechnology. They focus on discovering, developing, and delivering human therapeutics in areas like inflammation, oncology, hematology, bone health, cardiovascular disease, and more. Some of their blockbuster drugs include Prolia for osteoporosis, Enbrel for autoimmune conditions, and Repatha for cholesterol management. With around 28,000 employees worldwide, they've built a reputation for innovation in a highly competitive industry. Their mission? To serve patients by tackling some of the toughest medical challenges out there. Pretty inspiring stuff. Now let's dig into the revenue side of things. For the fiscal year 2024, Amgen reported total revenue of about $33.4 billion, which is a solid jump from $28.2 billion in 2023. Breaking it down by product, their top earners include Prolia at $4.4 billion, Enbrel at $3.3 billion, and Repatha at $2.2 billion. They've also got strong performers like Xgeva and Otezla, each pulling in over $2 billion. Geographically, the U.S. market dominates with nearly $23.9 billion in sales, while international markets contributed about $9.6 billion. What stands out here is their diversified portfolio. Having multiple high-performing drugs helps cushion them against patent cliffs or competition in any single area. Plus, newer drugs like Tezspire and Evenity are showing impressive growth, which bodes well for the future. Moving on to their earnings, Amgen's latest results for Q4 2025 were pretty impressive. They reported a quarterly profit of $1.33 billion, driven by a 7% increase in drug sales and some favorable tax adjustments. For the full year 2025, net income came in at $7.7 billion, up significantly from $0.1 billion in 2024, with earnings per share of $14.33 compared to $7.62 the prior year. This growth was fueled by double-digit volume increases across their portfolio, showing strong demand for their therapies. It's clear that Amgen is executing well operationally, even in a competitive space like biotech. Let's take a closer look at what management had to say during the Q4 2025 earnings call. They highlighted robust financial performance for the year, emphasizing double-digit growth in product sales volume as a key driver. Leadership sounded confident about their pipeline, particularly in oncology and inflammation, with several late-stage candidates expected to contribute to future growth. They also pointed to operational efficiencies and strategic investments as reasons for the improved profitability. Management's tone was optimistic, focusing on innovation and expanding their portfolio in high-demand therapeutic areas. This kind of forward-looking commentary suggests they're not just resting on their laurels, but actively positioning for the next wave of growth. All right, let's crunch some numbers from their financial statements. Looking at the balance sheet for 2025, Amgen had total assets of $90.6 billion, with cash and equivalents at $9.1 billion, giving them decent liquidity. However, their total liabilities are high at $81.9 billion, leading to a debt-to-equity ratio of over 6.3, which is something to watch. On the income statement side, their gross profit margin is a healthy 70.5%, though net profit margin sits at 21%, reflecting some heavy operating and R&D expenses typical in this industry. Free cash flow for 2025 was $8.1 billion, down a bit from $10.4 billion in 2024, but still strong enough to support dividends and reinvestment. Their return on equity is an impressive 96.7%, showing they're generating solid returns for shareholders despite the debt load. Overall, the financials paint a picture of a company with strong fundamentals, but some balance sheet risks to keep an eye on. Now let's talk valuation. Amgen's current price-to-earnings ratio on a trailing 12-month basis is about 25.8, which is roughly in line with the industry average of 25.9 for drug manufacturers. Looking at forward PE ratios, analysts project a drop to around 17.3 for 2025 and even lower to 15.3 by 2028, suggesting the stock could become more attractively priced if earnings growth continues as expected. Their price-to-sales ratio is 5.4, a bit on the higher side, but not outrageous for a biotech with Amgen's growth profile. With a dividend yield of 2.6%, it's also appealing for income-focused investors. Compared to peers, Amgen doesn't look overvalued, but it's not a screaming bargain either. It's more of a fair value with growth potential kind of play right now. Let's break down Amgen's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats in a quick SWOT analysis. Starting with strengths, their robust financial performance stands out. Strong revenue growth and profitability give them a solid foundation. They've also got a diversified product portfolio, which reduces risk. On the weakness side, that high debt-to-equity ratio is a concern, as it could limit flexibility if interest rates rise or cash flow tightens. Also, patent expirations on key drugs like Enbrel pose a risk of revenue loss to generics. For opportunities, Amgen's pipeline in oncology and inflammation looks promising, and expanding into emerging markets could drive future growth. Finally, threats include intense competition in the biotech space and regulatory hurdles that could delay new drug approvals. Overall, they're well-positioned, but not without challenges. Looking at recent performance, Amgen's stock has been on a decent run. Over the past month, it's up nearly 14%, and over 6 months, it's gained about 27.6%. Year over year, we're looking at a 24.3% increase, and over 5 years, it's up 58.6%, which is solid but lags behind some high-flying tech sectors. Compared to the broader healthcare sector, which is up 35.5% over the past year, Amgen is performing well but not leading the pack. On the chart, we see a steady uptrend with some short-term volatility. There was a slight dip of 0.2% in the past week, likely due to broader market noise. For short-term traders, there's potential for a pullback if the market cools, but the long-term trend looks supportive.
MarketSnap brings everything long-term investors use daily into one clean, fast platform. Explore stock financials, SWOT analysis, valuation ratios, 5-year analyst estimates, and our intrinsic value calculator, built with real fundamentals, not hype. All in a layout that's simple to read and ridiculously fast to navigate. And when you want to talk investing, join Nexus, our community where investors share valuations, posts, and stock discussions, all connected directly to the data. Use our stock's intrinsic value calculator to run and save real valuations with no spreadsheets. Share your analysis and valuations with others in the Nexus community. Get daily market summaries in video, audio, and article formats. Track the market with our earnings, dividend, and economics calendar. Our homepage gives you a real-time market overview with interactive heat maps, top market movers, and major index performance at a glance. Track daily performances, discover the most active stocks, and analyze performance across different timeframes, from weekly to yearly trends, and see which industries are leading or lagging. It's free to create an account, with optional access to premium forward-looking data. Try it now at MarketSnap.com and invest with clarity, not noise. That's a wrap for today's stock market summary from MarketSnap. Thanks for tuning in, and make sure to stick with us for daily updates and deep dive SWOT analyses to keep your investment strategy sharp. Whether you're navigating short-term turbulence or building wealth for the long haul, we've got the insights to help. See you tomorrow.